Good afternoon and Jai Hind children. So here I am again with the remaining part of the story. And yes, I received so many messages on my WhatsApp that how impatiently you all are waiting for the remaining story to be told. And first of all, I just would like to have a quick recap of what we studied in the previous class. And it was where we came to know that the narrator he wanted to come down to meet the signal man, but he observed that instead of looking towards the narrator, the signal man was looking towards the tunnel, and he thought that the narrator became quite uncomfortable when he observed this. After this, what happened when he reached closer to the signalman? He observed that he was a pale looking man. He had dark eyebrows, and then when he was taken to his signal box by the signalman, then he starts telling him that there is something that is troubling the signalman, and he tries to convey this thing to the narrator that. He is still in trouble because he has been facing this problem of seeing a specter every now and then near the tunnel, and every time he finds the specter there, specter is ghost as I told you in the previous class, and every time he finds the specter there or he sees the specter there, what the specter does is the specter covers his eyes with one arm and waves his other arm, and then he calls the signal man out of his signal box every now and then saying, hello below there, look out, watch out, as if he is warning the signal man of something, and something extremely bad. Okay, because yesterday in the previous class we came to know that every time the signal man saw the specter, something wrong has happened, and on the railway line, two memorable accidents took place when he saw the specter. First one was where so many people died and their bodies were kept near the tunnel, near the opening of the tunnel. And the second one was where he was confused whether whatever is there in the train, what is it, a head or a hand, who was signaling to the signal man. He couldn't make that out, and then he finally realized that a beautiful young lady died before he could actually warn the train driver, and the train driver could pull the brakes. So this has happened in the previous class. Okay, this is what we discussed about in the previous class. And also we observed that signal man is extremely worried about, because he has seen the spectre again the time the narrator came to meet the signal man, and he was also looking towards the bell because bell was ringing, but the narrator couldn't observe anything, couldn't hear any bell. And when he tells the signal man that it might be your illusion because I was also present here and I am a healthy man, like I can see, I can hear. So but I did not hear the bell ringing yesterday. And the signal man, okay, he doesn't show any kind of expression of anger or anything, because he knows that the bell could be heard, or the bell rings in such a fashion that could be heard only by the signal man, because the spectre was appearing in front of the signal man. The spectre is warning the signal man and no one else. That's what the signal man mentioned, that why don't this this thing, or why the spectre doesn't go in front of someone who has the will and power to act, because I'm just a common signal man, and if I find him here, or if he is warning about something wrong that is about to happen here on the railway line or somewhere else, I don't have that much power to stop that calamity. So he feels extremely sad about that and angry as well. So the narrator understands, okay, although he tells him that it might be an illusion and it happens with people sometimes, because you are living here in such a lonely place, all alone, and you're having no one to talk. So it might be an illusion that you are seeing all these things which other people hardly believe in. So he continues. So let's think and let's read what he said there. Now, he repeated formally both times. What troubles me so dreadfully, sir, is the question, what does a spectre mean? I was not sure. I told him that I did fully understand. What is its warning against? He said, ruminating. Ruminating means thinking deeply. Okay, the signalman was thinking deeply that what is it the spectre is warning him about? With his eyes on the fire and only by times turning them on me. What is the danger? Where is the danger? There is danger overhanging somewhere on the line. Some dreadful calamity will happen. It is not to be doubted this third time, after what has gone before. But surely this is a cruel haunting of me. What can I do? A mere poor signalman on this solitary station? Why not go to somebody with credit to be believed and power to act? So he tells the narrator that I am really worried because I don't doubt that something wrong will surely happen, because the previous times I have seen the spectre twice, okay, two accidents took place, and I am sure that something wrong will surely happen this time as well. But I'm not sure that what is it. I just don't know. And the thing that I'm actually angry and worried about is why don't the spectre, want somebody else who can take some suitable action or some suitable measure to stop any calamity? Why me? Why only me? And then his pain of mind was most pitiable to see. So whatever the signalman was saying was completely understood by the narrator. As I told you in the previous class that he was, a wise person. He was a very understanding person. So he understood what the signalman was going through, because everything, what the words, signalman's expression, his face, it was actually, convincing. Be it, the signalman was talking about something supernatural or paranormal, but the narrator was there to believe him. Okay, and he was believing him. He gradually became calmer, the occupations incidental. To his point, as the night advanced, began to make larger demands on his attention, and I left him at 2 in the morning. I had offered to stay through the night, but he would not hear of it. So what happened? It was becoming dark, and then the narrator offered him that, now that you are so scared of something and then you're worried that something wrong would surely happen, let me stay here with you, because if something wrong happens, I would be here to help you. But it was his time, it was his time to work. It was signalman's time to work. He has to go out of the station, be watchful if everything is going fine, or the train that comes passes through the tunnel safely. So that particular time was demanding signalman's attention more. So the narrator thought that it would be good if I leave, because it would be safe for the signalman also. But then he thinks, and then he also offers the signalman that I would surely stay here if you think that something wrong would surely happen. But the signalman tells him that no sir, you may go. Okay, so he doesn't accept that offer of the narrator staying there. Right? Next evening, on my way back to the signalman's post, so the next evening, the narrator comes back, okay, to see if everything was okay with the signalman or not. I mechanically looked down from the point from which I had first seen him. I cannot describe the thrill that seized upon me when, close at the mouth of the tunnel, I saw the appearance of a man with his left sleeve across his eyes, passionately waving his right arm. And then what happened the next evening? As I told you that the place, it was like very few people were living there. So because he was already told that that would be a safer place to come down. So he instinctively and without thinking, he just looked towards that place where the signalman met him. Okay, the first time. And then what happened? He looked towards the tunnel. And then what happened? Something, okay. He saw, something here that all of a sudden that, numbed him. He couldn't think of anything else but he could only see a person. And here it is written like appearance of a man. He could only see a person who was standing here and was covering his eyes with left arm and waving the right arm. And this was the same thing that was told to the narrator by the signalman, because he described the spectre the same way the narrator was seeing this man now. Okay. With an irresistible sense that something was wrong, I descended the notched path with all the speed I could make. So this made narrator worried. Okay, he thought that there is something wrong. So it was a it was a very sharp way to come down. So that was not a very comfortable path to come down. So the narrator, because he was already told by signalman that if you move a little away from that place and then come down, it would be safe. So he takes the same path again and then comes down from that V-shaped cut, if you remember, with all the speed. Okay, so as fast as he could, he just came down. What is the matter? I asked the group of men gathered at the mouth of the tunnel. So there were few people, okay, who were gathered near the mouth of the tunnel. And signalman killed this morning, sir. So a person, okay, he told the narrator that signalman killed this morning, sir. Not the man belonging to that box. And then the narrator, with full of disbelief, he tells him that, I hope that you are not talking about the man, who lives here in the signal box. Are you? And then he tells him, yes, sir. Oh, how did this happen? How did this happen? I asked, turning from one to another as the hut closed in again. And then with a disbelief that he actually was very sad and couldn't believe, on the fact that the signalman is no more. So he started asking the group of men who were standing there near the mouth of the tunnel that, how did it happen? And then he was cut down by an engine. Sir, no man in England knew his work better, but somehow he was not clear of the outer rail. It was just as at broad day he had struck the light and had the lamp in his hand. As the engine came out of the tunnel, his back was towards her, and she cut him down. That man drove her and was showing how it happened. Show the gentleman, Tom. And then what happened? The narrator was told how the signalman lost his life. And the person told him, sir, actually it was the time, and then I found signalman with his lamp, but his back was towards the engine of the train. And he was shouting as loud as he could. He was being warned about it. Then, but the signalman couldn't pay any heed. He was not listening at all. And all the people who were working there, they knew that signalman knew how to do his work. But this time everybody couldn't believe that it was the signalman who came on the railway line and his back was towards the engine. And then the person who was narrating all this thing to the narrator, he told Tom. Okay, so Tom was the one who was driving the train at the time. And then the man who wore a rough dark dress stepped back to his former place at the mouth of the tunnel. So Tom, okay, he was wearing a dark rough dress. So he came near the mouth of the tunnel. And then coming round the curve in the tunnel, sir, he said, I saw him at the end, like as if I saw him down a perspective glass. There was no time to check speed, and I knew him to be very careful. As he didn't seem to take heed of the whistle, I shut it off. When we were running down upon him and called to him as loud as I could call. What did you say? I said, below there, look out, for God's sake clear the way. I startled. It was a dreadful time, sir. I never left off calling to him. I put this arm before my eyes not to see, and I waved this arm to the last, but it was of no use. And then Tom tells him that actually, sir, he came on the railway line and the train was coming. We all knew him to be very careful, very watchful. But I whistled the train. I tried to grab his attention. I tried to attract his attention towards the engine, but it was of no use. I also started calling him, but he was not listening. He was not paying any heed. And then Tom did like this. He covered his eyes with one arm and then he waved the other. Hello below there, look out, look out. Okay, for God's sake, clear the way. So Tom was doing everything he could to save Signalman's life, but Signalman was not at all listening to what or to the things that were happening on the railway line at that time, including the whistle of the engine or Tom calling the signalman. And this way, Signalman lost his life. So I hope you know that what it was, that the spectre was warning the signalman about. So the third thing, when the third time the spectre appeared, it was warning the signalman, or he was warning the signalman about his own death, which the signalman couldn't understand at that time. And that was a thing that was actually bothering the signalman. And I hope you all can see that how the signalman died. He was actually he was actually very depressed at that time. So all these things happened with signalman. So in the previous class I told you that the third character, so let us take the spectre as the third character, because he also appeared in the story thrice. So I hope you all like this story, and we'll start doing the question and answers in the next class. And till then, take care, stay at home and stay safe, be kind and be happy. Okay? So thank you so much, children.